There are a great many stadiums around the country that resemble each other, but there is nothing like Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin on this last weekend of October. Temperature is 44 degrees and the sun is brilliant. And I think they're ready for the game of football today.
Yes, they are. And while it is unseasonably cool, it's really very comfortable with the sun shining. There's a soft breeze blowing, nothing that's really going to have a major impact, at least so far, you wouldn't think, on the game. But it's I'm sure if you ask the players, Greg, they would say, I would play in weather like this all the time.
The Green Bay Packers won the toss, and they will defer, which means the Jacksonville Jaguars will get their hands on the football first.
Well, don't you know that Green Bay wants to find out right away how Blaine Gabbert and that sore left shoulder are going to be able to operate. So why not throw Clay Matthews and the defense on the field first?
Michael Spurlock is deep for the Jaguars and getting set to kick it away is number 2, Mason Crosby, and we are underway at Lambeau. From the 1-yard line, Spurlock across the 15 and close to the 20-yard line before he is brought down. The Jaguars quarterback Blaine Gabbert, knocked out of last week's game at Oakland with a torn labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. His left shoulder practiced this week, starts today. He was 8 of 12 for 110 yards and a touchdown before leaving that game at Oakland last week.
When we met with head coach Mike Mularkey, I said to him, when I saw that, I thought he broke his collarbone. And he goes, funny you should say that. That's exactly what I thought. Having Gabbert back out on the field just 7 days later, quite an accomplishment.
They fake the pitch, and on the move, the pass is complete out across the 30 and out of bounds. Close to the 35-yard line is the rookie Justin Blackman. A change in the offensive line. Coach Mike Mularkey says rookie free agent Mike Brewster's playing well. He starts at left guard today. And with the foot injury to Maurice Jones-Drew, Jacksonville looks to fourth-year running back Rashad Jennings to carry the ground game today.
That's really well done by Jacksonville, getting Blackman involved very early on the game's first play.
On first down from the 34. Jennings, not very much there, across the 35 to about the 37 or 38-yard line. Green Bay's 3-4 defense gets nose tackle B.J. Raji back. Raji has missed the last 2 games with a bad ankle. Among the linebackers, Clay Matthews, one of the best pass rushers in the league. 9 sacks. The Jaguars have to figure out how to contain him. And the secondary, already missing Charles Woodson, also loses cornerback Sam Shields to an ankle injury. Casey Hayward starts for him, and there is Maurice Jones-Drew looking on from the sideline. 2nd and 6. Straight drop, and throwing to the near side and complete just short of the 40-yard line to Cecil Shorts.
So Cecil Shorts catches the reception for an extremely short gain. Gabbert checked all the way down to the route that's not going to provide much of anything. Picked up maybe a yard on the play. But this is at least a more manageable 3rd down for Jacksonville. Anything that's 5 or less is something that's much more in this offense's wheelhouse.
3rd and 4, Gabbert from the shotgun.
Here comes the blitz.
Under pressure, going down back at the 30-yard line. Brad Jones with the sack.
Well, didn't waste any time. Dom Capers didn't waste any, deciding to come on the blitz. And you can see Brad Jones, and there was some confusion. Brad Meester, the center, looked like he was going to pick him up and then at the last minute let him go. But the quickest way to the quarterback is right up the A-gap, the gap between the guard and center, and that's just what the Pack did.
Randall Cobb is deep. He has returned the punt 75 yards for a touchdown this season. Fair catch called for and made it about the 22-yard line. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay offense. When we come back. Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers picking up where he left off last season when he tossed a franchise record 45 touchdown passes, a league-leading 19 already this year against 4 interceptions. Green Bay starting from its own 22-yard line. And this is Alex Green. for a couple to about the 24-yard line. The veteran in the middle of that offensive line, Jeff Saturday. 13 years in Indianapolis Colt in his first season here in Green Bay. And with injuries to wide receivers, James Jones has stepped up. His 7 touchdown receptions has him tied for the lead in the NFL. Green picked up 2 with 2nd and 8. And Rodgers throwing and that batted down incomplete. Nice defensive play made by Aaron Ross.
Aaron Ross getting the start today because Derek Cox, the starting corner on that side, is out with an injury, and that's pretty darn tight coverage. That's a good job. Timing well done by Aaron Ross.
For Michael Finley, the intended receiver, and it'll be 3rd and 8.
If you're Jacksonville now, when you're on defense, you are looking into the sun. And if you're a receiver for Green Bay, if you have to turn around, I think that sounds effective.
Rodgers, incomplete to Green coming out of the backfield.
Ooh, and a rare misfire by Aaron Rodgers as he checks it down to Alex Green, who's almost certainly going to be able to break a tackle and make somebody miss and pick up a first down, but strictly too big of a lead from Aaron Rodgers.
So Spurlock goes back for the upcoming punt. Tim Mastay averaging close to 45 yards a kick. And he will let this one roll out of bounds. And Blaine Gabbert and the Jacksonville offense will have some pretty decent field position to work with when we come back to Lambeau Field in just a moment. Emblematic of Green Bay, Wisconsin. Welcome back to Lambeau Field. First down for Jacksonville at their own 34-yard line. This is Jennings, and Jennings across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. Rashad Jennings missed all of last season with a bad knee.
Well, you know, he's got skills, he's got talent. He doesn't get on the field unless Maurice Jones-Drew isn't playing, and that is going to be for the foreseeable future. You know, you see his average this season, 2.7. Coming into the season, his per-carry average was about 5.5 yards a carry. So he's used to more success. Granted, it's not huge success, but at least it's more than he's getting now.
Straight ahead to about the 40-yard line. B.J. Raji making the stop. There's Mike Mularkey in his first year as the head coach of these Jacksonville Jaguars.
Greg, I think he's got to come up with a game plan today that has a lot of quick releases, shorter patterns with Blaine Gabbert trying to protect that left shoulder. He'd love to get the running game going. That makes it easier for any offensive play caller, but I no 7-step drops. I don't think he wants Gabbert to hold that ball for very long.
Jacksonville has been horrendous on 3rd down. This one over the middle. Got his man inside the 40, inside the 30, inside the 25-yard line is the rookie, Justin Blackmon.
Well, we talked about it before this game kicked off about Blackmon with only 14 receptions, matching his number coming into this game, has to be able to produce. He has got to get some separation, and that's exactly what he was able to do there, and then Gabbert puts the ball right out in front. A beautiful throw, and it started with outstanding pass protection. Here's Clay Matthews, gets run into the pile, and he just disappeared in there.
36-yard pickup, first down. Quick pass to the far side, that's incomplete through the hands of Kevin Elliott, the rookie free agent out of Florida A&M. It'll be 2nd and 10.
When you're an underdog on the road, every mistake you make is magnified, and that's just a good illustration right there of the kind of plays that Jacksonville, it's what's been plaguing them all year. When we visited with Mike Mularkey, he told us this is no joke. Blaine Gabbert has had 18 dropped passes, and I'm not talking about ones where guys got to lay out for. I call them layups. 18 dropped layups. Make it 19.
2nd and 10. Jennings to about the 22-yard line. C.J. Wilson, Morgan Burnett converging for the stop.
Well, one of the great first steps in football is Clay Matthews. You aren't supposed to be able to come off the edge, run around the attempted block by Bradfield, and still get a hand on a ball carrier running right in behind center. You're not supposed to be that quick. Clay Matthews is.
Jacksonville, worst in the league in the red zone. Looking at a 3rd and 8. Gabbard under pressure, got hit as he released it, and the ball is tipped and falls, and we have a penalty marker down.
Late flag. Looks like the umpire threw a late flag. The referee is responsible for protecting the quarterback. The umpire looks at the line.
Holding, number 75, offense.
Yep.
That penalty's declined. 4th down.
Eugene Monroe.
But because it was an incomplete pass, Green Bay is going to decline it. And you see right there, dipping underneath. And I've seen a lot worse holding than that, but it really doesn't matter. Eugene Monroe, probably the best offensive lineman for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He has got his hands full today with Clay Matthews. Is he capable of blocking him one-on-one on occasion? Yes, but he'll need help more often than not.
And I don't see a kicker out on the field. Oh, 3rd down, 3rd and 18. It's from the 32-yard line. So they need the 14 for 1st down. Gabbard, throw. Caught close to the 20-yard line by Mike Thomas. And that will bring the field goal unit on.
Well, they certainly make it a much more manageable field goal. So far, when Blaine Gabbert has been able to step into a throw, he's delivered a pretty accurate pass.
So here's Josh Scobie. This one from 38 yards out. He is 11 out of 11 in the field goal department this season. Has hit 17 consecutive field goals, and that makes 18. From 38 yards out, Scobie is perfect, and a 3-0 Jacksonville lead. 7 plays, 46 yards. Blaine Gabbert throwing the ball well, and so far showing no signs of that injury from last week.
It's not going to necessarily affect his throwing motion. The question is going to be that first time that he really gets driven to the ground and he's unable to really break his fall and keep the left side of his body from absorbing the hit.
Randall Cobb is deep for the Packers. And he will get to return this one from his own 2. Finds a hole across the 25. And out of bounds across the 30-yard line. Good return from Randall Cobb. Run out of bounds by Mike Harris. And we have a player down at about the 24-yard line for Jacksonville. And that is Harris. Chris Harris, number 43. Mike Harris ran Cobb out of bounds. This is Chris Harris. So they'll take a look at Chris Harris. We'll take a break and come back. Back in Lambeau Field, there is 43 Chris Harris, seems to have recovered. Meanwhile, Rasheem Mathis starts this set of downs on the sideline.
Blue 95, blue 95, blue 95, blue 58, blue 58.
Play fake, Roger, this side of the field, complete across the 40-yard line to James Jones.
Well, Chris Harris, when he was covering that kickoff, he is right here on the left side of your screen. Right over here. Here he is right here. And take a look at that hit as he gets hit by rookie Desmond Moses. A perfectly legal block and a good block, but that was a bit jarring for Chris Harris. But he appears to be just fine.
Green 18!
On 1st down. This is Alex Green, and Green about 2.5 yards short of midfield.
Well, we're told that Chris Harris just had the wind knocked out of him, and
No kidding.
he will return to this game, and that is the best possible result that you could have. There you get a good look at now that Packers have moved into the bright sunshine. If you've got to turn back and look for a football, the sun is.
This is Green again, and Green across midfield into Jacksonville territory at the 49-yard line, where they will have a 3rd and about 2. There is Mike McCarthy, the head coach of Green Bay, in his 7th season here, and taking his Packers to the postseason 4 of his first 6 years.
There is Rashean Mathis, who's normally the starting left corner for Jacksonville, a multiple Pro Bowl player. So along with Derek Cox, both the starters for the Jaguars, not on the field.
Rodgers on the move. Slide down at the 45 for a first down. And one of the things about Aaron Rodgers is that he is an outstanding athlete.
Well, I think we got to factor a little intelligence into that as well. Not being greedy, not trying to make anybody's highlight reels, just knowing exactly where the mark is, where do I need to go for a first down, and that's all the farther I'm going. That's a great awareness that time by Aaron Rodgers.
Green again in the backfield. He gets the handoff and is stopped just over the line of scrimmage, just inside the 45-yard line.
Well, Alex Green, no problem identifying him. He's got the pink tape all over his shoes. But, you know, this is a guy that, you know, last year ended up on IR. He tore up his knee. But he's really under the gun now with Cedric Benson being hurt. Benson hurt his foot. He's on the special IR where he could come back later in the season. But Green and Starks, they're going to have to carry the load until Cedric Benson comes back.
John Kuhn, the starting fullback, not available to the Packers today. Rodgers flips it out to the near side. This is Green with blocking inside the 35 to about the 32-yard line, and another first down for the Packers.
Well done by Green Bay setting up that screen. The offensive lineman blocked the guys just long enough to slow down the pass rush, and then they let them go. You see T.J. Lang gets out there in front, and pretty good blocking downfield. James Jones, the wide receiver, in on it. Jeff Saturday gets down there and throws his body around. The key as an offensive lineman on that screen, though, you got to sell that it really is a pass play, and you have to do that by hitting the defensive lineman across from you, hitting him pretty hard, then letting him go.
On first down, the pitch, Green going the other way, turning the corner inside the 30 and brought down at about the 25-yard line. Russell Allen, the 4th-year linebacker out of San Diego State, making the play.
Well, good blocking at the point of attack. DJ Williams, the tight end, he's out there and gets a pretty good block. Crabtree sets the edge. And then again, you got Jeff Saturday who can run, but a good athletic job of blocking by the tight ends of the Packers and the offensive line.
Alex Green gets a breather. James Starks, number 44, another pair of pink high tops in the backfield. Into the backfield alongside Rodgers on 2nd and 3. Rodgers with time over the middle, inside the 10, complete to the 5-yard line. Jermichael Finley. It'll be 1st and goal for Green Bay.
And Finley excited to get involved in this offense. And take a look at this, working against the Jacksonville zone and coming across on the crossing pattern. He gets right in there behind Puzlesny, the middle linebacker, but in front of the safeties. And on a crossing pattern, Jermichael Finley presents a mighty big target to Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers told us yesterday morning this game sets up well for Jermichael Finley.
Well, with Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson on the bench, you know, you got to be able to go to them.
Green Bay outstanding in the red zone. Rodgers on the move, looking, throws, touchdown. Randall Cobb.
Again, the athleticism of Aaron Rodgers by extending the play. And whenever you're looking at the goal line, one of your receivers is responsible for working the back line of the end zone. And this time it was Randall Cobb. who's floating along the end line, and then comes back, makes sure he's in the field of play, and made sure he didn't go out of bounds prior to that. Because if he would have just touched the white line back there, and you can see the official looking at it, if he'd have just touched that white line, he's not eligible to come back in and catch that pass. But again, Aaron Rodgers, athletically on the move, throwing that ball, right-handed quarterback running to his left. That is just nicely done.
Aaron Rodgers, his 33rd consecutive game here at Lambeau with a touchdown pass. That extends the record he owns here in Green Bay. Lambeau lead time, 7-3 Packers. That touchdown pass pulled Aaron Rodgers even in Packer franchise history with Bart Starr at 152 touchdown passes.
Well, one guy already in the Hall of Fame, one guy on his way to the Hall of Fame, and Aaron Rodgers certainly starting to put together a Hall of Fame portfolio.
Spurlock will run this one out after some hesitation. Down at the 10-yard line.
I'm assuming he'd like to have that one back. Why don't we go back and take a look at that touchdown? The Jaguars do a good job defensively of switching. Here's Cobb out here, but watch how this DB does the switch. But Cobb comes over and then comes all the way back. Initially, look at this little switch right there. That's nicely done, but then you can see back in the secondary that Brzezinski, the safety, just loses track, can't keep up with Randall Cobb. Randall Cobb is one quick son of a gun.
So now Jacksonville down 7-3 from their own 11-yard line. This is Jennings, running room, left side, lots of running room. Outside and out of bounds across the 30-yard line.
Well, what a serious error by the Green Bay defense, totally losing contain onto that side of the field. And that's Clay Matthews, who gets handled by Eugene Monroe. Talk about not setting an edge. That's what it looks like when there is no edge whatsoever. I don't know if Clay Matthews had that contained. It looked like he did. You got to give credit to Eugene Monroe. He took care of it.
A little more operating room now for Gabbard and the Jaguars at their own 32. Play fake, deep drop. And this is Jennings out of the backfield. And not much to be had there as he was met by Clay Matthews. To get the latest news, analysis, and predictions from Pat Kerwin, Pete Prisco, and other CBS Sports experts. Watch Pro Football 360 live weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern or on demand at cbssports.com/profootball360.
Blaine Gabbert that time went through his progressions, nothing downfield, so you hope your guy can, break a tackle. He made the right choice, just as Clay Matthews made a heck of an open field stop.
On 2nd and 10, this is Jennings, and Jennings with some running room again. Just across the 35 to the 36-yard line where Ryan Pickett makes the stop.
And this is the Jacksonville Jaguars. There's nothing overly fancy about this bunch. They're not overly explosive, although Justin Blackmon certainly has a chance to be. And, you just got to wonder about the mindset of this football team trying to overcome the loss of Maurice Jones-Drew, who's such a big, big part of their offense. Actually, an enormous portion of their offense.
Jacksonville, 3rd and 6. Gabbard throwing, got his man across the 45-yard line.
There he is again.
Justin Blackmon, who's already caught more passes today than he did a week ago at Oakland.
Well, the great talent coming out of Oklahoma State. And he's no surprise. This didn't raise eyebrows when the Jaguars drafted Justin Blackmon that high in the draft. I mean, everybody knew this guy's got tremendous potential. He's got some learning to do, but the coaches in Jacksonville are pleased, especially the strides the last couple weeks.
Gabbard over the middle. Oh, what a catch made, and then comes loose. Incomplete. Mercedes Lewis, the tight end, had it for a moment, couldn't hold it.
Wow, that's such a risky throw because you got to float it over. You got to float it over the first level of defense, and you saw how close Brad Jones comes to getting it.
That's a terrific pass.
Well, what a touch pass by Blaine Gabbert. But unfortunately, Mercedes Lewis has to take it to the ground and hold it after hitting the ground, and he did not. But what a pass by Gabbert.
2nd and 10, the pitch to Jennings, left side, looking for running room, doesn't find any.
Clay Matthews made sure that he kept contained on that one. Not this time. That is how, when it's your edge to set, you don't ever give up that outside shoulder. Watch Clay Matthews. He's on the outside shoulder. Mercedes Lewis never leaves it, fights him off. That's textbook. That's exactly how you do it.
And with that, we come to the end of the first quarter here at Lambeau Field. Jacksonville started it with a field goal. The Packers came back with a touchdown. 7-3 Green Bay, second quarter after this. You run into a great name or two here at Lambeau Field in NFL history. 3rd and 12. Gabbert running out of time, on the move, now throws incomplete inside the 45 to about the 42 or 41-yard line to Cecil Shorts for a first down.
Tempers flare a bit before we're able to get everyone up and headed in their respective
Sore left
directions.
shoulder or not, Blaine Gabbert is throwing the ball really well today.
Yes, he is. And again, he hasn't taken a big hit. That hasn't really been tested. He's been, by and large, enjoying pretty good pass protection. And when he's seeing the field, he is finding his guys open.
From the 41. Give us to Jennings. And we get our first NFL Today update of the day. JB and Shannon in New York.
Shannon, Chicago.
Bears get on the board first, JB. Here, handoff. Matt Forte, 13 yards, untouched up in the middle. 7-3 Carolina, but Carolina's back in the Bears territory.
Bears have won 4 straight against Carolina. Let's take it back to Greg and Dan.
All right, guys, thank you. And Chicago Bears showing the way in the NFC North. Green Bay playing catch-up. Gabbert, deep drop, throwing. Got his man inside the 25-yard line. Cecil Shorts with the catch. And that's another Jacksonville first down.
I mean, we talked about this early in the game, but keep in mind the Green Bay Packers are missing 3 starters on defense as well. Sam Shields, the corner, gone. Charles Woodson, the safety, gone. And right there you get a very good look at Cecil Shorts finding a soft spot. And, Blaine Gabbert is throwing the ball well, but let's be realistic. His receivers are getting open. Nick Perry, starting linebacker, not playing in this game either.
Jennings changing direction, lost the football, covered inside the 20-yard line by the Packers.
Again, the kind of mistakes that when you're 1-5 on the road, you just can't afford.
Rashad Jennings turning the ball over. The Green Bay Packers haven't turned the ball over in their last 3 games, including today, but they have 5 takeaways. And from their own 20, Rodgers.
319! 319!
That's in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Tom Crabtree, the tight end.
Yeah, let's go back and take a look at that fumble. Brad Jones right here, the middle linebacker. Watch him fill and then fight off a block. Watch him fight off a block and get in there. He fights through, dives back in, and gets his left hand on the football. And that was not a violent hit. No excuse for Rashad Jennings coughing up that football.
That's on 2nd and 10. Rodgers moving, throwing, and complete to the far side of the field and run out of bounds is Jarrett Boykin, the rookie free agent receiver out of Virginia Tech.
Greg, you mentioned the Packers and how opportunistic they've been on defense in terms of getting some turnovers, but that is a 6th lost fumble. That is a 6th lost fumble for the Jags. The first fumble recovery of the year for Green Bay on defense, if you can believe that.
Alex Green looking for the first down at the 30-yard line. Excuse me, Aaron Rodgers. And let's see if the officials are, that's going to be a first down for Green Bay. Jordy Nelson, injured receiver, not playing today, on the sideline.
319.
This is Green, and Green going to lose yardage on this play. George Selby making the stop. Hey, get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL, that's 635 to download NFL Mobile, or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more.
The Packers running their no huddle offense.
58.
Quick pass, near side, complete. Randall Cobb looking for running room and out of bounds right near the 35-yard line.
Well, obviously a very high percentage pass, and what you need is one block, which you're getting from the other wide receiver who is out there in front of you, and you can see right there the fight for the block. That was just decent defensive work there by Jacksonville.
And Rodgers looking at a 3rd and 4. Out to this side, complete, but that hit is made on Alex Green by Russell Allen.
And that is incomplete. And they're not ruling it incomplete because of that hit. I mean, Russell Allen was right there. He makes a good hit with his body, but a good strip of the football with his right hand, where he gets in there and knocks it away from Green.
So that'll force the kick. And Michael Spurlock is back at about his own 22-yard line.
And Rashad Jennings says to the defensive guys, "Thank you very much."
Masway puts this one up high. And they're going to let this one bounce and roll into the end zone. For the touchback, 10:35 to play in the first half. Green Bay with a 7-3 lead. As we welcome you back to Lambeau Field, we've made note of the fact Blaine Gabbert has been outstanding in the early part of this game.
Well, they've done a good job of keeping him clean. His left shoulder hasn't really been tested yet.
On first down, he has time. Gonna go deep. And that catch is made inside the 40-yard line. Cecil Shorts. And once again, Gabbert right on the money with the throw.
Well, he identifies, first of all, the one-on-one coverage. He realizes that that's an advantage that he's going to go after.
And we've had a challenge flag thrown by Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, we got the one look at it there. Remember, as Cecil Shorts goes to the ground, he's got to control the football, and the ground can't help him make the catch.
The ruling on the field of a completed pass. We'll review the play.
That's an incomplete pass. That's a smart challenge by Green Bay. That angle right there really showed it. Cecil Shorts loses control of the football, and it is loose and on the ground, incomplete.
After review, the ball is out of the receiver's control and hit the ground. It is an incomplete pass. It'll be second down at the 20-yard line.
It's a pretty easy call for Carl Cheffers to make.
It really is. Now, what's lost in this, it really was a superior throw by Blaine Gabbert. It was a good read of the coverage, realizing there wasn't help, that Morgan Burnett, the safety, was on his own. But Cecil Shorts didn't complete the process.
Would have been a 43-yard pickup. Instead, it's 2nd and 10.
Well, you don't stop going back to Cecil Shorts. He really is a big play waiting to happen.
Gabbert will screen to Mercedes Lewis this side with blockers. Across the 30, spinning to the 35 to the 36-yard line, and a first down.
Well, the majority of screens go to either a running back or a bubble screen to a wide receiver. The tight end screen is probably the one we see the least, and as you can see, it really takes the Packers by surprise. And a good job at the end of this of Mercedes Lewis covering up the football. And talk about running to daylight, that's running to sunlight.
From the 36-yard line now. Jennings. Cut down after about a 1-yard pickup. Coming up from the secondary, Jerron McMillan.
Well, Blaine Gabbert, as we talked about, has had a really good start to this football game. He got Justin Blackman involved later. He extends the play there by moving out of the pocket. That time a good throw to Cecil Shorts. And he has been very accurate, 9 of 12 so far. 123, no touchdowns yet, but no interceptions either.
Spreading the field on 2nd and 8. Gabbert throws far side of the field and broken up and close to being picked off. That's Tremont Williams over there, defending Mike Thomas.
Well, Tremont Williams already has a couple interceptions on this season, and boy, did he get a good break on that. He got his hands on it, and I'll pretty much guarantee you that the minute that Blaine Gabbert let that ball go, he went, uh-oh, potential problem.
3rd and 8. Jacksonville 3 out of 5 on 3rd down today. Gabbert throwing, incomplete. Lewis, the intended receiver, and he had company.
Well, he had company, but the throw itself was high. Mercedes Lewis at 6'6", it certainly presents a big target downfield. He was late getting off the ball. That's one of the problems. But that, there was a possibility of a completion, but that pass is one of the rare poor passes we've seen from Blaine Gabbert. That was just too high, and he's lucky that wasn't tipped. Tip means interceptions a lot of the time.
Randall Cobb back at his own 17-yard line. And Brian Anger with the punt. Blocked! Rolling inside the 10 to the end zone. Covered for a touchdown.
I think House blocked it.
And Desmond Moses recovered in the end zone.
It looked like Devon House actually got a hand on it. Take a look at this. Coming from the top of your screen from the far side, number 31 comes around the corner. He is completely untouched. That time the Jacksonville protection screen thought they could get away without blocking the guy coming from the edge, and Devon House made him pay for it. And what a spark. And the ball gets bounced and nudged into the end zone, and Desmond Moses gets the touchdown. But credit number 31, House, he made the play.
Mason Crosby's kick is good, and with 8:45 to play in the first half, Green Bay's lead is now 14-3 in special teams. Get into the act in a big way. Devon House with the block at the other end of it. Aaron Rodgers cheering the recovery by Desmond Moses. Back at Lambeau Field, these Green Bay Packers do a lot of things well, but it's been a while since they blocked a punt and recovered it for a touchdown all the way back to 1990, 347 games.
And I can tell you, it's demoralizing for a football team to get a punt blocked because it's such a breakdown in a scheme that you shouldn't allow to happen. It's tough to overcome.
Keith Toston with the ball inside the 5-yard line, coming up the sideline, and out across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Hey, nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Don't miss Rich Gannon, Steve Berline, special guest Gary Danielson on NFL Monday QB tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. Quarterbacks here today. Gabbert, 9 of 14 for 123. Aaron Rodgers, 6 of 10 for 64, but a touchdown.
And right now the pressure on Blaine Gabbert because of that special teams mistake has been ratcheted up, down by 11.
Jalen Parmalee is in the backfield behind Gabbert. Parmalee gets the handoff and goes nowhere. Back to New York, James Brown and Shannon Sharp, guys.
Greg, Matt Ryan in a zone.
12 of 13, 157, and his third touchdown. This one, 63 yards. Julio Jones, he will make no wine before his time. Into the end zone, 21-7. Atlanta over the Eagles.
Dan Deerdorf, I know you like that reference. Back to Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf.
JB, you are right about that.
Matt Ryan, 12 out of 13. Eagles still with some defensive ailments.
Can't blame that on Juan Castillo.
That pass is incomplete. The near side intended for the rookie Blackman, and we get a late flag as Blackman lost his helmet. Mike McCarthy looking a bit upset with the call.
Personal foul. Defense for illegal contact to a defenseless receiver. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Carl Cheffers did not give us a number. Let's see who the guilty party is. Looks like Devon House coming up from behind.
Who just blocked the punt. I know his helmet comes off and House comes up from behind, but
boy, Mike McCarthy is livid on the sideline.
Well, I don't see how you can call that headhunting. How you aren't allowed to hit a guy in the head. Now, was there some contact? Man, it was marginal at best.
Give Jacksonville first down at the 43. This is Parmalee again. And Parmalee out to the 45-yard line. Once again, back to New York to JB and Shannon.
This is the Stafford from last year.
Yes, he already has 2 touchdowns. This is the second one. 46 yards, Matthew Stafford. Cadillac into the end zone. Titus Young 46 yards away. 17-14. Seattle's on top.
Greg and Dan.
Boy, in the tough NFC North, if there's a team that needs to get rolling, it's the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, which means there's a lot of Seattle fans sitting here in Lambeau today.
2nd and 8. Rashad Penny back into the game. Gabbard throwing, and that's incomplete. And we get a penalty marker in the backfield.
Holding, number 96. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
That's Mike Neal, defensive end. And that will give the Jaguars a first down.
Well, so far 2 penalties on this drive that have resulted in first downs for Jacksonville. Mike McCarthy realizes, he got a big play from special teams, and you got a team that's reeling a little bit. You don't make it easy for them by extending drives with penalties.
At midfield, this is Rashad Penny. Fights for about 3 yards on the play.
Well, it's always fun to follow Clay Matthews around, and again, what a major hold by Zach Potter. I don't blame you for being frustrated with that, Clay. You fought off the block, you're going back to the inside, and you just get jerked back by a full-blown grab to your jersey.
Gabbard throw on 2nd and 8. And that one a little behind his intended receiver, Cecil Shorts.
And not just a pass rusher, Clay Matthews at time drops all the way back into coverage. He's a tremendous athlete with a lot of range. Now, I guarantee you that every offensive lineman in the NFL would like to see him back there in pass coverage instead of rushing the quarterback. The receiver right there, as Cecil Shorts breaks to the inside, he's got an opening. He's open. I don't know if Gabbard was expecting a different cut, a different break, or if it was just a poor throw. Hard to tell from here.
Gabbard 0 for his last 4 throwing the football, and 0 for 5 now as he couldn't connect with Mercedes Lewis going across the field.
And all of a sudden, after a really hot start throwing the football, the incompletions are coming in bunches for this Jacksonville offense. And again, when you're a huge underdog on the road, you can't afford dry spells.
Randall Cobb back inside his own 10. Fair catch called for. And that is not the kick Brian Anger wanted to get off. The rookie out of California gives Green Bay pretty good field position. Hey, tomorrow, two broke girls meet Cedric the Entertainer. Catch a new episode of the hit comedy tomorrow, only CBS.
Well, right now, I would suspect that the Green Bay Packers would like to concentrate a little on their running game. The Jaguars have been giving up this year almost 150 yards a game rushing, and the Packers so far have a grand total of 22, averaging less than 3 yards a rush. That's something they'd like to improve.
Jacksonville with the edge in time of possession, but haven't been able to do much with it.
You can't trade those in for points.
Rodgers throws out here to Green. Green out of the backfield and smacked out of bounds just across the 30 and 32-yard line. Russell Allen, who has played himself a pretty good football game for the Jaguars so far, knocked him out of bounds.
Well, I don't think anyone can argue with the fact that Jacksonville, came in here with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, where everyone just says this is the lock of the week. The Packers couldn't lose to Jacksonville if they tried. These guys have pride. They're professionals. They're putting forth good effort. The question is, do they have enough talent?
Rodgers pulls it down throw. There's a penalty marker down. Complete to Donald Driver, his first catch of the day.
And
Let's check the flag.
And listen to the crowd. They love them some Donald Driver here in Green Bay.
This will be against the Jaguars.
Holding, number 26, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
The safety, DeJuan Landry.
There's DeJuan Landry right there. And the last time I checked, you're not able to tackle a potential receiver. I'm trying to think the last time I saw a defensive back do that.
Only if the officials are away on vacation.
They used to be able to do that back in the 60s, but that has been illegal for a long time.
First and 10. This is Alex Green. Green fights his way out to about the 40-yard line. We were talking with Aaron Rodgers. He asked him if he was going to be missing John Kuhn, the starting fullback, who's not available today. And Aaron said pretty much on third down is when we'd miss him the most.
Well, Kuhn, just one of those guys. He's not spectacular. He doesn't do anything. He did enough last year to go to the Pro Bowl. But you know what? He's just always there. He's just Aaron Rodgers' guy. After the third or the fourth check down, there's Kuhn open.
Green to the outside and tripped at about the 40-yard line, falls forward to the 41. And we come down to 4:45 to play in the first half.
And this, I'm like I mentioned just a moment ago, I'm sure Mike McCarthy would love to put together a drive with some effective running of the football. It's just, they're averaging about 94 yards a game here in Green Bay running the football. New center in Jeff Saturday.
Looks strange, not in a Colt uniform, doesn't it?
And they lost, Scott Wells, the center who was here before, was their best lineman. He's hurt now playing for the Rams.
Rodgers on 3rd and 5 with time. Going to go deep. That's incomplete, and flags all over the place.
I would say that Mike Harris, number 20, might have restricted Jarrett Boykin. Never understood a way to go from your teammate after that. I'm sure that was maybe the proverbial
prior to the pass,
pat on the back.
Number 20 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Is that a way of saying nice penalty?
I guess it's keep your head up or something like that. But again, those penalties are automatic first downs, and that's the second defensive holding in about 4 plays on the Jaguars. We had Landry's tackle and Mike Harrison with another very obvious.
2 penalties on this drive, 3rd today against the Jaguars. They arrive with the second fewest penalties in the NFL.
Which normally isn't the case of a team with a losing record.
Rodgers dancing outside, looking deep, throwing deep. and knocked down. Chris Prosinski coming across to make the play.
Well, that just goes to show that Aaron Rodgers isn't perfect, because I don't think he should have thrown. He shouldn't have thrown that pass. All right, let's see what he's got. Okay, he's forced out of there. Selvey came up the middle, but this ball kind of floated. You know, you got your big guy, Jermichael Finley, running down the middle of the field, but the problem is he didn't get any separation from Paul Posluszny. He's right there with him. Yeah, he wanted Finley to go up for the football, but that was into a crowd.
On 2nd and 10, this is Green. And Green nowhere to go and wrapped up by Austin Lane.
Well, Jermichael Finley, not exactly, and not normally the guy you send all the way down the field in that scenario. But again, keep in mind, without Jordy Nelson and without Greg Jennings in this Green Bay offense, they're going to try some things that you don't normally see.
Dan, you made the point in your report into the NFL today. This is a Green Bay team missing a lot of starters today.
Well, you got 6 starters, and there was Jennings and Jordy Nelson both on the bench. 6 starters, 3 on both sides of the ball, not suited up.
Rodgers pulls it down and goes down. Inside the 40-yard line, Jeremy Mincy with his 2nd sack of the season.
Give some credit here to this Jacksonville defense. They're still working, but this is a classic coverage sack. Aaron Rodgers initially had plenty of time to find a receiver on his first couple of reads. He was tucking it down, and he was on his way trying to run for a first down.
That is the 27th sack of Aaron Rodgers this season.
Whistles blow before the snap, and looks like a false start.
False start, number 24, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Penalty is on Jarrett Bush. Number 24, Michael Spurlock back at his own 25. 2:49 and the clock is moving. Now 2:45 to play here in the first half. Bad kick.
Oh, there's a wobbler.
And Michael Spurlock almost made a really bad mistake. Really bad mistake.
Well, that ended up not being a Jaguars mistake, but they've had several so far. When they're in good field position, Rashad Jennings is stripped of the football, and then a block punt. Now, the fumble didn't result in points, but this sure does. This ends up being a Green Bay touchdown. And then Spurlock on that last one. This
disaster written all over it.
In an attempt to pick it up, he is really fortunate that he bobbled it so badly that it spurted out to the left. If that would have gone forward.
Mastay with a 36-yard punt. Gabbert from the shotgun, near side, complete to Jennings out of the backfield with running room. Across midfield to the 45 of the Packers.
And Gabbert took a hit. Gabbert finally ended up taking a hit, and that hurt. And he gets hit right on the front of that left shoulder, and as he goes down, he has to break the fall with his left arm. And you don't need me to tell you that's a grimace of pain on the face of Blaine Gabbert. That's Chad Henne, who went in relief last week in the loss against the Raiders, the overtime loss.
And as insurance, the Jaguars signed John Parker Wilson, a third-year quarterback out of Alabama.
Henne, of course, has a lot of starting experience with his 4 years with the Miami Dolphins. But that's the first time today that Gabbert has taken a shot. And I think it's pretty safe to say he's playing in some pain right now. This is what happened to Blaine Gabbert last week. Watch, Tommy Kelly drives him to the ground, unable to keep all of Kelly's weight from coming down on him. And again, we talked earlier where it looked like he did some damage to his collarbone, but in actuality, it's a labrum.
Jaguars use a timeout. They have 2 remaining.
Look out!
From behind, he got hit just as he let loose, courtesy of Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews went right around Eugene Monroe. 75, the left tackle. He doesn't slow Matthews down at all. You're not allowed to hit a quarterback low, but you can see that in reality his helmet, he's right there in the rear end of Gabbard, and he's trying to stay away from the knees. But Monroe has got to stop that upfield momentum of Clay Matthews.
Well, the line of scrimmage is now 45-yard line, 2nd and 10. Gabbard throwing, got his man inside the 20, to the 15, inside the 10-yard line. Cecil short, and that will take us to the 2-minute warning.
Well, Cecil short on the post pattern against the Green Bay zone. Finds a big hole in that pre-vet shell, and good field position for Jackson.
The Jaguars don't visit the red zone very much, but when they do, they've produced. Quick pass, incomplete, inside the 5-yard line. Intended for Spurlock, number 86.
Well, the problem with that statistic is that too many of those were field goals instead of touchdowns. And this is a situation here down by 11. You would certainly hate to just finish off this drive in this field position by only coming out of here with 3 points.
2nd and goal. Jennings running room left side, and that's quickly sealed off at about the 8-yard line by Morgan Burnett, number 42. And the clock continues to move, 1:40 to play here in the first half.
Just to talk about the red zone proficiency of these two teams, the Packers score a touchdown on 76% of their trips into the red zone. The Jaguars score a touchdown on only 40% of the trips into the red zone.
3rd and goal. Gabbard. That'll be an offside. Incomplete. Eric Walden jumped before the snap.
And a big jump.
Offside, number 93. Half the distance to the goal. 3rd down.
Well, Eric Walden is up there at the top of the screen. He comes all the way across, kind of rocks back a little bit, and then actually he gets shoved into him by Cameron Bradfield, the right tackle. He goes ahead and he shoves Walden, and that momentum knocks him into his own quarterback.
3rd and goal. On the roll, throwing back to the end zone, overthrew everybody. Mercedes Lewis is at the back end of the end zone.
Well, Lewis could have made that catch if he was about 17 feet tall. This was, I'm not sure if Gabbard didn't throw this away. No, he didn't. That's just, that football wasn't even in the frame of that shot. It was so high and outside.
Josh Scobie with a 38-yarder earlier, looking for his 19th consecutive field goal. And he's got it. 1:03 to play in the first half, and Green Bay's lead is now 14-6. And a reminder coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. And every glance we've taken a look at the scoreboard, there are a few surprises around the league today, Dan.
Yeah, there are. And you know, one of the surprises in this game is that Jacksonville's got 220 yards of offense to the Packers 95. And yet, the good news is for Jacksonville, they're a touchdown and a 2-point conversion from tying the football game. But again, yards and time of possession have not equated into points for the Jaguars.
220 yards, and look at what they averaged.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, this is This is by far and away the best half they've had if you're only looking at yards. But the special teams mistake, it just, again, they're not good enough to absorb a lot of theirs. And they're one down in the turnover differential.
Randall Cobb is deep. Will not run this one out of the end zone, and so the Packers will start from their own 20-yard line with 63 seconds to play here in the first half. Leaders in today's game. Gabbert has come back down to earth a little bit here in the second quarter. Rashad Jennings with 43 yards rushing. And on the receiving end, Cecil Shorts, 4 catches for 69 yards.
Well, Green Bay, though, when we looked at those numbers, they got to be disappointed with Alex Green rushing the ball 9 times and for a grand total of 22 yards. I mean, that's not Green's fault, but that's not productive.
Rodgers goes down again inside the 15-yard line. And the Jaguars say they have the football. There has been no official call of a fumble.
Well, Andre Brandt.
Carl Cheffers now points the other direction and says it's Jacksonville football.
Well, again, we're inside 2 minutes here in the first half, so this can't be challenged by a coach. The replay official upstairs. Right there, you can see meeting at the quarterback, number 90, Andre Branch, and number 97, John Chick, is in there.
The ball bounce loose.
This will give us a good look. I tell you what, that ball came loose, but Aaron Rodgers, is he tucking the football back in? He started a throwing motion, and he's beginning to pull the football back into his body. If he doesn't get it all the way back in there and put it away, this could be the tuck rule. This could very well be the tuck rule.
The ruling on the field of a fumble has been confirmed. Please set the game clock to 53 seconds. 5-3, please.
Well, they've taken a look at it and deemed that it's a fumble. And
what an opportunity for Jacksonville.
If you start that throwing motion, and then if you're in the process of bringing it back and putting it away, if it comes out, I couldn't see exactly where the football came out. Well, he did. Okay, that was a good look of him tucking it back into his stomach. When he did that, the tuck rule went away.
Gabbert throws far side of the field. That's Mercedes Lewis out of bounds.
That last shot really gave us a good look of Aaron Rodgers, who went ahead and did secure the football to his midsection, and then it was stripped and knocked out.
So the line of scrimmage now the 8-yard line, and once again, Jacksonville knocking on the door. 2nd and 5. Jacksonville can get a first down without scoring a touchdown. Gabbert on the move, throws out of the hands of Mike Thomas inside the 5-yard line. And another one of those dropped passes.
And I wonder if a healthy Blaine Gabbert wouldn't have taken off with his football and really made a run for the end zone, because he had a chance, but he can't do it. With that bad shoulder, he's got to throw it. I think a healthy Blaine Gabbert would have taken off with that football and tried to run in for a touchdown.
3rd and 5. Over the middle and very close to the goal line. Michael Spurlock with the catch. That's not a touchdown, but it's a first down.
Well, again, it's pretty darn good pass protection. The pocket, it's not perfect, but it does give Gabbert line of sight right up the middle of the field.
So the clock is stopped now with a timeout, the second one used by the Jaguars with 28 seconds to play in the first half. And we remind you, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JV, Dan, Shannon, Booler, and Coach Bill Cowher. All the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
Well, without Maurice Jones-Drew, again, it's Rashad Jennings, and there is Jones-Drew. He's in that walking boot, a pretty severe sprain of his left foot. And with him being a running back, it's just hard to tell how long he might be out. But considering that happened a week ago, doesn't appear to me that he's going to be back anytime soon.
First and goal. Greg Jones, Rashad Jennings, and straight ahead is Gabbert. And Gabbert, no touchdown signal yet.
Oh, with a bad shoulder, letting Gabbert run a quarterback sneak. Well, it was not just a couple of minutes ago that we saw Blaine Gabbert wincing after getting knocked to the ground. And there he goes in there, and oof.
And the Jaguars have to use their third and final timeout.
It's his left shoulder. He's burrowing in there. And I got to tell you something. There is no way anyone could question Blaine Gabbert's physical toughness trying to quarterback sneak with a torn labrum in his left shoulder. That's why you have running backs.
It looked like he tried to catch everyone by surprise. Quick snap, and certainly the quarterback sneak is a surprise.
But he'd like to have it over. Now, you got to give him credit, though, Greg. I mean, he's a tough kid.
Jaguars are out of timeouts. And through to the end zone. Did he make that catch? It is ruled a touchdown.
That's his offensive tackle, Guy
Whipper made the catch.
Oh, an offensive lineman's dream. And not only did he catch, he had to make a good catch.
Terrific catch.
Under pressure, Gabbert didn't get as much on it as he would have liked to. And look at Whipper go down. He juggles it at first, but then he looked to me like he kept it off the ground and pulled it in.
That's a good catch.
Again, no challenge here because it's up in the replay booth inside 2 minutes of the first half, and Aaron Rodgers a little dismayed that his fumble looks like it's going to result in a Jacksonville touchdown.
And they will go for the two-point conversion here.
Absolutely.
With 17 seconds to play in the first half. Jacksonville 1 out of 2 on two-point attempts this season. Makes the pitch, the throw, and dropped at the goal line by Justin Blackman.
Well, that was not a good throw by Blaine Gabbert. He had to rush it. He was under some duress, and it looked from up here that he threw it behind Justin Blackman. If he throws it out in front of Blackman, it is an easy two-point conversion. There goes Blackman, but you can see the ball comes in behind him. Yeah, that's, I bet you Blackman makes that catch more often than not, but it's still not where it needed to be.
But Jacksonville scores 9 points in less than a minute here in the closing seconds of the first half and pull to within 2 at 14-12.
I know a lot of people have different opinions about chasing 2 points. Some guys don't want to do it until the second half, but you know what? Jacksonville 1-5. Certainly it's hard to find fault with them going for 2 here at the very end of the first half. They had the play. It was right there. The execution wasn't what it needed to be.
You know what I was looking for, Dan? You remember Mike Malarkey told us Justin Blackman has a habit of not seeing the ball into his hands, looking away before he makes the catch, but not on that play.
But still catches it. Yeah, that one.
Randall Cobb going to let this one not return. And we'll go back to the 20-yard line.
Well, it's been a busy first half. Aaron Rodgers staying alive, finds Randall Cobb for the touchdown, and then the blocked punt. And that's a freebie, baby. That's a touchdown. And then Aaron Rodgers turns around and inside 2 minutes He ends up fumbling the ball, and Guy Wimper, living the dream, catches a touchdown pass from Blaine Gabbert.
18.
17 seconds on the clock now, and this is Alex Green. Green looking for running room. And that likely will be the end of the first half.
Well, right now, as the Jaguars head in, I think Mike Mularkey's ball club has a lot to feel good about. They've moved the football. Yeah, they're not winning, but they've got some positives that they can build on.
We come to the end of the first half with the score: the Packers 14 and Jacksonville 12. We're coming back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. Back in Lambeau Field in Green Bay, the Packers with a 14-12 lead on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and now the Droid Razor M play presented by Motorola.
Well, a little trickeration here when you have an offensive tackle going into the end zone, and Guy Wimper, number 68 there, ends up with a touchdown catch. And by gosh, he earned that, Greg. He had to go down and dig it out. It wasn't the best throw in the world. Good for him.
Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf. Surprised there are no givens in the National Football League. I don't think that you could have thought that there would be a bigger favorite around the league today than the Green Bay Packers. True, they're missing a bunch of starters, but here we are at halftime, a 2-point game.
Yeah, they are missing 6 starters, 3 on each side of the ball. But it really does speak to the professionalism that exists around the National Football League. As the old saying goes, these guys are on scholarship too, and it's been a great effort by Jacksonville. They're dominating the game statistically. What hasn't gotten untracked is the Green Bay passing game. Take a look at that. Yes, that really says 61 yards passing in the first half by Aaron Rodgers. Now keep in mind, Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings not playing in this game, but that's got to improve.
And there are a few plays that Blaine Gabbert would love to have back, and you don't know if that's just plain misfire on his part or the very real fact that he's playing hurt today.
Well, he is playing hurt. If you didn't see us at the very beginning, he really injured his left shoulder in their loss last week to the Oakland Raiders, and we've seen him today take a couple of hits where it really hurt. He's gotten up grimacing, but he has played tough, hard football.
Packers get the ball first here in the second half. And from the 2-yard line, it's Randall Cobb. Ducks to the outside and brings it back to about the 30-yard line. And so here comes Aaron Rodgers,
who just hasn't been able to go vertical at all today. He's 7 for 12. It just has not had a big play. Everything has been small ball. And keep in mind now that both of the starting corners for Jacksonville are knit. Derek Cox isn't playing today. Rashean Mathis has been spending most of the time on the sideline. It's time to go vertical a little bit, I think, for the Packers.
And that's Jarrell Worthy, a rookie out of Michigan State, their second-round draft pick, a defensive end, a little bit shaken up on the kickoff return. And Jarrell taking a little extra breath or two on one knee.
Well, he was part of a dominating defense there at Michigan State, and he was a second-round pick. When a club invests a second-round pick in a guy, they think he's got a real upside, and the Pack certainly thinks that about Jarrell Worthy. He's got everything you like in a defensive line.
Boy, talk about the ins and outs of players to injury. The Packers got B.J. Raji back today. He hadn't played the last 2 games.
Well, neither team has run the ball effectively today, and that's a big reason why Jacksonville is struggling to hammer the football inside. It's because of Raji's presence.
So Worthy to his feet, and that's a start. But they will lead him off to the near sideline. That's Charles Woodson.
If you look at Charles Woodson and what he's accomplished, he won a national championship, won the Heisman Trophy. He's won the Super Bowl. He's won a defensive MVP. He's going to be a member of both the College Football Hall of Fame, the Professional Football Hall of Fame. I mean, you talk about a strong resume as putting your stamp on certifying that you're one of the all-time people that have ever walked on a football field. Charles Woodson is doing that.
So first down for Green Bay from their own 30-yard line, and they'll start it off on the ground with Alex Green for 2 yards. And as you mentioned, Dan, they're going to want to get this ground game going to some extent.
Well, yeah, they need to get the ground game and the passing game going, but you're right. Their inability to effectively run the ball, it's frustrating.
Throwing to the near side of the field, and that is complete to Donald Driver. Driver's second catch of the day, and he's out of bounds at about the 38-yard line.
You know, we saw some no huddle out of the Packers in the first half. It's an offense that they run, you know, to some degree in every game they play. They're huddling here to start the third quarter, but I'd try something. This is kind of a lethargic-looking Green Bay offense right now. They need a spark to either come from a couple good plays or pick up the tempo, but they need some energy.
3rd and 2. Rodgers running out of time. Penalty marker flies. He lost the football at the 42-yard line, rolling forward to the 45. Recovered by Jeremy Mincy, but let's check the flag. There is a penalty marker at the 31-yard line.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 97 defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That is John Chick, second-year defensive end from Utah State, and that's a costly one.
Boy, John Chick just got activated off the PUP list and added to this Jacksonville roster. And wow, what a costly mistake. That's one of those where you look for the trap door and go, where can I go hide? Now at the end of this play, as Aaron Rodgers is trying to run for a first down, he takes a good shot after he'd already lost the football. He got stripped of the football by, I believe, was it number 50? You're exactly right. Russell Allen was the guy who strips the ball out.
And Posluszny was the one who leveled the hit.
Yep. But that hit did knock the ball out. It got stripped before Posluszny got to it.
And extended further conversation with Carl Cheffers.
Well, they might be trying to figure out where to spot the ball. You have to assess the penalty from where the penalty took place. Again, the penalty was illegal hands to the face on the part of John Chick.
By rule, the foul is enforced from the spot of the foul. The result of the enforcement must get back to the line of scrimmage, where it will be 1st and 10, Green Bay.
So they get a first down 2 yards shy of what the original first down marker would have been.
Right, because you assess that penalty from where
the foul occurred.
John Chick actually put his hands into the guy's face. The
word on Jarrell Worthy's injury is he's being looked at for a
Green 18!
concussion. We'll let you know if anything further happens to him. Meanwhile, Green straight ahead across the 40 to about the 42-yard line.
Well, that was some good old-fashioned power football right there.
They don't know anything about that here in Green Bay.
No, that was coming right in behind a couple double teams. But again, you got a rookie down here and Mike Harris playing cornerback. Just right at the bottom of your screen there, number 20. You'd think Aaron Rodgers would want to test him beat.
Rodgers trying to spin out of trouble and throws it away.
And right now, Aaron Rodgers, you got to give credit to this secondary of Jacksonville. They are taking away his primary options.
On the play. Eligible receiver number 18 was in the area. Third down.
And Aaron Rodgers is not finding people open. And again, with three of his go-to guys, Greg Jennings, Jordy Nelson, John Kuhn, all missing from this game, you cannot deny it's taking a toll.
So now the Jaguars with a chance to put the clamps on a Green Bay drive right here. 3rd and 6. Going down the far sideline. It is overthrown, intended for James Jones.
And that was another throwaway, Greg. I mean, Aaron Rodgers throws that ball. That's a good 3-4 yards out of bounds. James Jones just can't get any separation at all from Middleton. He's all over him. And that's not a bad throw from Aaron Rodgers. That's a throwaway.
So Michael Spurlock drops back for the upcoming kick from Mastay.
I would imagine right about now, Aaron Rodgers, his frustration level is starting to peak.
Spurlock, fair catch called for and made at about the 25-yard line. 12:43 to play in the 3rd quarter. Jacksonville looking for a spark, trailing by 2. In the NFC North, Green Bay with a chance to make a little hay today. Chicago losing, Detroit losing, Minnesota lost on Thursday. Gabbert going deep, incomplete. Intended for Shorts.
And Cecil Shorts looks like he landed awkwardly and might have knocked a little of the wind out of his lungs.
I think someone landed on him.
Yep. Take a look at it working against Trayvon Williams. And Williams with him all the way. And the ball just overthrown, and you're exactly right. Williams comes down and lands right on top of Cecil Shorts III. But he's still in there.
2nd and 10. Under pressure, going down.
That's a fumble.
Lost the football, and he recovered it at the 9-yard line. Morgan Burnett came in untouched.
Well, Dom Capers sends in a corner right off the edge. Morgan Burnett, he's going to slice. He's at the top. He's coming in, and he is untouched. And a major surprise for Blaine Gabbert as he's got his back to it, and when he turns around, Burnett is coming right at him. And there's one of the great defensive minds in the game, Dom Capers, in his 4th year here as the defensive coordinator.
Formerly the defensive coordinator with Jacksonville.
Well, guy's been a head coach in both Carolina and Houston. He knows his stuff.
Play clock down to 2, down to 1. They got the snap off. Gabbert over the middle. Short. Out to about the 15-yard line and no more, and that'll be well short of a 1st down.
And Jacksonville was really fortunate that when Gabbert fumbled that football, that it really kind of bounced right back to him. Well, good look at Gabbert standing in the sun, and the ball goes right through the shade on its way to Shorts, but that was a pass that was pretty much conceded by the Green Bay defense, knowing that it wouldn't move the chains.
Oh, no fair catch called for by Randall Cobb. Fortunate to hold on to the ball. Antoine Blake right on top of him with the tackle. As we welcome you back to Green Bay, a little bit of a turnaround in quarterback fortunes today, Dan.
Kudos to the Jacksonville defense. When you're keeping Aaron Rodgers under 4 yards per attempt, that's spectacular.
Alex Green.
I'd say this about the Packers. They are being consistent in trying to make this running game work. I see number 18 walking around there, Randall Cobb. Mike McCarthy, I'm not sure where he's looking at on his play calling sheet, but I might be looking in the column where Randall Cobb's name is. I'd be trying to get the football to one of their playmakers. They've got to back up this Jacksonville defense.
Well, Green Bay had one 69-yard drive for a score today, but really not much else in addition to that. Rodgers. side, Alex Green to the 45. And Terrence Knighton, better known as Pot Roast.
Yeah, that's Pot Roast, fourth-year player. And again, the Packers have always been one of the best screen teams in the NFL. But you got to give Jacksonville credit. They are flying to the football. They even got big guys like Knighton getting to the football on a screen. That's not exactly his specialty at 335, 340 pounds.
Rodgers on 3rd and 5. That's complete, on the money. First down, just short of the 40-yard line to Cobb.
And again, this time Mel Tucker, the defensive coordinator, comes with the blitz, a 5-man rush, and a good job by the guys up front, giving Aaron Rodgers a good throwing lane, and he delivers a nice ball. And look at what a nice job by Randall Cobb of protecting the football. Look at the way he covered that thing up, knowing that his tacklers were going to be coming from the left. He really secured it. I'd keep throwing it to 18.
Play fake. Rodgers, a bullet. Drop by D.J. Williams, second-year tight end.
Well, normally this group of receivers for the Packers, that are sure-handed, but this has been a problem all season long for the Packers. We talked about it earlier with the Jaguars with a lot of drops, but the Packers have had their share of drop passes this young season so far. It's been a problem that Mike McCarthy would very much like to have go away.
Rodgers on 2nd and 10, running out of time, and just threw that one into the dirt. George Selvey in on the Packer quarterback. And so it'll be 3rd and 10.
And again, the rhythm of the Green Bay passing game just isn't there. Aaron Rodgers is having to look for receivers that aren't open.
Welcome to those of you just joining us here in Lambeau Field. 9:17 to play in the 3rd quarter of a 2-point game. Green Bay with a 14-12 lead on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Aaron Rodgers with a 3rd and 10 from the Jacksonville 41. Quick pass. That is complete to James Jones, but that's short of a first down.
Woefully short of a first down.
So let's see what Mike McCarthy is going to do. He will send out Mason Crosby for a pretty lengthy field goal attempt.
Well, this is going to be 55 yards.
He has a career long of 58 last season at Minnesota.
Yeah,
and now
they're gonna punt it.
No, they're not going to punt it. He's going to throw it. And it falls well short. Incomplete. D.J. Williams, the intended receiver, but Tim Mastey rolled left and threw right.
Well, and that didn't fool
anyone.
No. And again, I'm not sure about Mastey's passing prowess, but that was a long way from being good looking.
8:31 to play here in the 3rd quarter, in Jacksonville with the football again at their own 37-yard line, trailing by 2. Blaine Gabbert gives it to Rashad Jennings. Jennings in the starting lineup for the injured Maurice Jones-Drew. But boy, you talk about injuries. Mike McCarthy has been looking for answers on the Packer sideline because he has injuries to deal with on both sides of the football, and his offense has basically sputtered today.
It really has. 6 starters not dressed for this game. 3 on offense, 3 on offense. There's 2 of the offensive guys. That's Jordy Nelson on the left, Greg Jennings on the right. And let me tell you, the subtraction of those 2 from the Green Bay passing game has Aaron Rodgers barely over 100 yards halfway through the 3rd quarter.
On 2nd and 9, this is Jennings. And Jennings brought to a stop at the 40-yard line.
Well, we'll bring you up to speed as far as what's happened so far. Aaron Rodgers got it started with a touchdown pass to Randall Cobb, but then a blocked punt. And this, you thought, really put Jacksonville in a hole, but then Aaron Rodgers, he gets stripped. Guy Wimper, an offensive tackle, ends up taking a touchdown pass from Blaine Gabbert. They weren't successful on converting the two-point attempt, and that is why they're behind 14-12.
And Blaine Gabbert now looking at a 3rd and 7. This side of the field, and making the catch at about the 43 is Mike Thomas, but that won't get them a first down.
Well, because of where the ball was thrown to Mike Thomas, he had to go down and dig it out, and that really precluded him from being able to turn upfield and try to get enough yardage to move the sticks.
Also, for those of you just joining us, Blaine Gabbert playing with a torn labrum in his non-throwing shoulder. Randall Cobb lets this one go, and it bounces into the end zone. So Aaron Rodgers, the guy the Packers will look to jumpstart their offense when we come back. 6.5 to play here in the third quarter, and Green Bay from their own 20-yard line. Told you they had one substantive drive of 69 yards. 7 other drives have produced 57 total yards all day long. And Alex Green straight ahead for maybe 2 yards. And we said earlier, this Green Bay team with a victory today can gain ground on everybody else this week in the NFC North. Chicago losing. Minnesota lost on Thursday. Detroit on the short end of the score against Seattle.
And you see to the right is the record in the division. Green Bay's one division win was over Chicago, the second game of the season. That's good news for the Packers.
On 2nd and 8, Rodgers throws far side of the field, and that was right on the money. James Jones thrown down out of bounds, and the crowd wants a little. And there's a late flag.
And they got it. William Middleton, the corner, well out of bounds, kept playing it. He didn't violently throw him to the ground.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness for a late hit out of bounds, number 29 defense. That 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
That's just not smart football.
Well, no, Middleton, is he really trying to thump his head off the ground? No. But did he have every opportunity to not do that?
Yes.
And that's where, why expose yourself to the officials in the sense that you give him a chance to throw the flag? That it was unnecessary, it wasn't violent, but you just can't take that kind of a chance.
James Sparks is in the backfield. Sparks on the receiving end of this screen and knocked out of bounds at about the Jacksonville 43-yard line by DeJuan Landry.
And you remember James Starks was the Packers' leading rusher last year, and he injured a toe early in the preseason in the opener, and this is just his 3rd game back, and they're trying to work him. You know, he's a guy that Mike McCarthy is trying to work into this lineup and get him some more snaps.
Well, he's going to stay on the field, pick up 9, 2nd and 1. Play fake. Right through Starks' hands. 3rd and 1.
And he goes right there in Rodgers and says, "I'm sorry." I think we're going to see a classic case of him snapping. He wanted to peek upfield. He wanted to see if there was anybody close to him and did not look the ball into his hands.
And how many different languages can you say, "my bad"?
Yep.
3rd and 1.
Green 18!
Green has the first down and then some. Inside the 40 to the 37 before Landry makes the stop. That's a Packer first down.
Well, again, this is a good surge off the ball. Nice double team there on the right side. Brian Balaga gets a good block, and Evan Dietrich Smith, who is in playing tight end, a backup offensive lineman. They got a good surge at the point of attack.
Those numbers there tell you Green Bay fans have had precious little to cheer about today. That catch is made by Jones, And Jones spun down at about 32 or 31.
Yeah, they're just, let's be realistic. When Jordy Nelson tweaked that ham in Wednesday's practice, they knew they were going to be shorthanded. They weren't going to have Greg Jennings. But Jordy going down during the week to an injury that he's never had before, a hamstring injury, that has, there's no way you don't say this hasn't taken a toll on this Packer vertical passing game. They have not been able to get downfield at all, and there's the living example of it.
James starts with running room up the middle, inside the 25 to the 23. And that's another Green Bay first down.
And every time that James Starks has the ability to produce a positive play for the Packers, that's good news. Big, powerful guy that you want to have him going down the stretch.
Rodgers spreading the field now. 5 wide receivers on first down.
319.
Not much of a rush. Pass is completed at the 15-yard line to James Jones coming across the field.
Yeah, Mike Harris had pretty decent coverage, but again, this was because the offensive line gave Aaron Rodgers a long time. It's a 4-man rush by if I use that term rush loosely, because those 4 guys were pretty much wiped out by the Green Bay front. Nice job of passing off by Brian Bulaga on the right side. And Aaron Rodgers took advantage of outstanding protection.
2nd and 2.
319.
Quick pass to this side. Cobb can't find running room. Brought down to the 14.
Aaron Ross was having none of that.
Randall Cobb is only his 2nd season out of Kentucky. And he has come on nicely for Mike McCarthy and the Green Bay offense.
Well, he's a luxury because they can put him in the backfield, Greg. He can run from the line of scrimmage, which he's done a couple times, but he's really starting to blossom as a receiver. He's starting to understand the nuances of running certain routes against certain coverages and getting open.
Green
tackled by his own right tackle, Brian Bulaga. He tripped right over his feet and fell down. Now, how frustrating is that? He's going to try to cut back to the outside, and he stumbles right over the left ankle of Brian Bulaga. He had the edge if he could have got around there.
I dare say Tim Neste will not be throwing a pass here. Mason Crosby from 32 yards out. And
hit the upright.
Off the upright, and it is no good. Boy, did that one take a bend to the right. We stay at 14-12. Mason Crosby's a pretty reliable field goal kicker, but this kick, that ball takes a turn like Easterners hope Hurricane Sandy makes a right turn. It just didn't get there.
Brings out emotions on both sides. Yeah.
So Blaine Gabbert and the Jaguars from their own 22. Gabbert throwing far side of the field and just missed Justin Blackman. 2nd and 10.
Well, Blaine Gabbert, playing with that torn labrum in his left shoulder, got off to a great start. He was smoking hot in the first quarter of this game and has cooled off to some degree. He's 16 to 30. He's just won over 50%, and he's missed a couple open receivers like that one right there. But by and large, he's playing all right.
Rashad Jennings. Clay Matthews with the hand claps. We were talking with Clay Matthews yesterday. He says he remembers Rashad Jennings from the Senior Bowl. He called him a big athletic back with something to prove.
Yeah, they're both 4th-year players. And, Rashad Jennings, Clay Matthews comes from one of the great football schools of all time in Southern Cal. Liberty, the home of Rashad Jennings, I don't think you can actually call it a real feeder for the National Football League.
Not quite a factory.
No.
3rd and 7. Blaine Gabbert needs to make something happen on third down here. Just threw it away. And Clay Matthews right in his face.
But a good decision for a young quarterback. Wrong place, wrong time to try to force something. You're outside of the pocket. You got 52. He's got you in his sights. Get it back to the line of scrimmage and a throwaway, and let your defense go back out and play football.
Jacksonville with 3 straight 3-and-outs to start the second half here. Cobb going to let this one bounce. It takes a Green Bay bounce. And Jaguars are letting it roll. Seconds to play in the third quarter. Are we heading towards a recovery or a recession? Answers from a swing state. Plus, the NFL team owner with a unique American success story on 60 Minutes tonight, only CBS. That NFL owner, Shad Khan of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We had a nice conversation with him prior to the game here in the booth today.
Yeah, we certainly did. Mark Lamping, president of the club, stopped by and to say hello, and it was nice meeting Mr. Khan. Wish him luck in the league.
319!
Final seconds of the third quarter. Rodgers rolls, flips, and being cut down at midfield, falling forward a couple of yards is Jermichael Finley. And with that time runs down here in the third. That is the end of the third quarter. It's a tight one. Green Bay leads it by just 14-12. We're back to Lambeau after this message and a word from your local station. Along with our producer Mark Wolf, our director Bob Fishman, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, and the rest of our CBS Sports crew at Lambeau Field in Green Bay as we start the fourth quarter. The Packers with the ball and a 2-point lead. Rodgers on 2nd and 6. Rodgers throwing, has that completion inside the 45 to about the 43-yard line, be about a yard short of a first down. James Jones with the catch.
And Aaron Rodgers looks like there's something wrong. Was that just me reading his body language right there? He looked like something physically was not right.
Third and 1.
319!
And he'll go with Alex Green. Green pulls his way to a first down. Let's go back to that play.
Yeah, it was just a curious look on Aaron Rodgers' face. Well, he got hit. Yeah, he's grabbing his right elbow.
That might have been a helmet.
Yeah, it looked like after he released it, he pulled the arm back to his side, and then one of the Jaguars hit him right on that elbow. Of course, any of us that ever had our funny bone hit, we know that is an unpleasant experience.
Like that getting out of bed this morning.
Now, why did somebody call that a funny bone? I never found anything funny about that feeling.
Rodgers. Wide open in the middle of the field is James Jones, all the way to the 11-yard line.
Well, to this point, they'd only had one play of 20 or more. That was a completion to Jermichael Finley. And finally, Aaron Rodgers is able to stretch this field a little bit against this Jacksonville zone. A wide open James Jones.
James Starks into the backfield. Quick pass to the near side. Cobb, stiff arm, breaks him free for a couple of yards to the 7.
Oh, and there's a late flag that comes in. William Middleton, the tackler on Cobb.
Tripping, number 29, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic, first down.
And that's Middleton.
All right, there's Middleton coming in. He takes a good stiff arm. Oh, and then he whips around and sweeps Randall Cobb's feet out from under him. And, you say, well, geez, that just can happen to anybody. No, that was intentional. That's just trying to get the guy to the ground any way you can. The alternative is to have him stay up and go in for a touchdown.
First and goal. Just as the play clock expired, and Rodgers throws it away.
Well, again, Mel Tucker, the defensive
The
coordinator,
quarterback is out of the pocket.
he came
Number
in
89 is in the area.
with a blitz off that edge, and it totally surprised Aaron Rodgers, and he had no choice but to get rid of that football.
You know, the Jacksonville Jaguars, Dan, very much in this football game, but they've made their share of mistakes today, and Mike Mularkey pointed out yesterday they're not good enough to make mistakes and get away with it.
Well, not in Lambeau Field against the team, the prowess of the Packers.
Second and goal.
319!
Rodgers looks left on the pass to the end zone, caught for the touchdown. Donald Driver.
And Donald Driver's minutes have disappeared with the emergence of guys like Jennings and Nelson. And he's basking in a little Lambeau love.
His second touchdown catch of the season.
And a good look right there that the safety, Chris Krasinski, does not know where the football is. It's on its way to Donald Driver, and he's not able to make a play on it because he's so focused on Driver and didn't get his head around to see where the football was. 37-year-old Donald Driver.
In his 14th season out of Alcorn State. The kick is good.
And playing, by the way, Greg, in his 200th game today. How cool is that?
Aaron Rodgers throws his second touchdown pass of the day. 12:36 to play in the fourth quarter. Green Bay stretches its lead over the Jaguars, 21-12. Pretty good credentials for Donald Driver, don't you think?
Well, ties Paul Hornung. I would say that's never a bad thing to. Well, I can think a couple of bad things Paul's done that you wouldn't want to be you wouldn't necessarily want to be sent on. One of the great guys of all time, Paul Hornung. What a good man.
Keith Costner will run this one out from 5 yards deep in the end zone and gets it back out to about the 20-yard line. Hey, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS shows off doubleheader action. Dan, you and I are going to be in Cincinnati where the Bengals play host to Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. The Dolphins will tackle the Colts. The Bills challenge the Texans. Then Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers take on Eli Manning and the Giants. Check your local listings, beginning with JB, Dan, Coach Shannon, and Boomer on the NFL Today, presented by Southwest Airlines. Manning's all over the tube next weekend. It doesn't bode well for Jacksonville in the fourth quarter, does it? Unless they turn things around. Gabbard. Jennings out of the backfield. And out of bounds just across the 20-yard line.
Nice job! Hey! Nice job! Nice!
I think Jacksonville, they're not built to do this all at once. And, you know, Blaine Gabbert in his second year, it's more of a short, controlled passing game. And given the fact they're down by 9, but they've got over 12 minutes, they don't have to deviate from what they've been doing since the start of this football game, and that's to play a more measured offense.
And Blaine Gabbert has to figure out a way to get a first down here in the second half. They don't have one. Gabbert with time. And that's only going to get a couple of yards to Mike Thomas.
Yeah, and Justin Blackman, who was such a part of this game early, and in fact, he caught a pass on the first play of the game, had a good first half with over 61 yards, and then you see the goose egg in the second half. Now, credit the Packers. I think Dom Capers and his group made an adjustment at halftime and paid a little more attention.
And Maurice Jones-Drew on crutches on the sideline, a spectator today. 3rd and 6. Gabbert scrambles out of trouble and flips it forward, and that's complete. Out to the 40-yard line is Jalen Parmalee out of the backfield. And that is the first down of the second half for Jacksonville.
And a good job by Gabbert. He made it happen by staying alive. He exhausted his time in the pocket and then drifted a little bit to his left and found his check down. Again, a real role reversal there. But kudos to the Green Bay defense. Credit them. They have thrown the air brakes on this Jacksonville offense.
Pass to Mike Thomas. Oh, Thomas can't shake the tackler, number 42, Morgan Burnett.
Again, this is a Green Bay defense. No Sam Shields. No Nick Perry, their talented first-round draft pick from Southern Cal, the linebacker. He's got a bad knee. He's not playing. And, of course, the biggest loss of all, Charles Woodson with the broken collarbone, who's probably going to miss, well, everybody says 6 weeks. Charles isn't a young man anymore, but I wouldn't count him out. That might be too long.
Gabbard with a bullet near midfield to Cecil Shorts.
Third one.
So that will be about a yard short, about a half yard short of a first down. On 3rd and 1, there's Charles Woodson.
You know what else, Charles Woodson? I read all his accomplishments earlier. He also donated $2 million to CS Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor, Michigan, part of the University of Michigan hospital system. Not 2,000, not 200,000, $2 million. Good man. Yes, sir.
3rd and 1, timeout called by Jacksonville. Welcome back to Green Bay. 21-12. Packers in the lead. Just under 9.5 to play here in the 4th. A critical 3rd and 1 for the Jaguars. Play fake.
I think Green Bay was offside.
And throwing it is sideline. Grabbed on the D. Was he in bounds? He was. Ruled a catch by Justin Blackman. And a fine throw by Gabbard.
It looked to me like Ryan Pickett was across the ball.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass downfield. Offside. Defense, that penalty's declined. Result of the play, first down.
Yeah, you could see that Pickett was in the neutral zone. And let's see, is this a completed catch? Oh, the feet where I couldn't see the feet right there. There's possession, one. Oh, that second foot looked like it stepped out of bounds.
And Mike McCarthy dropped the red flag.
Yes. It looked like that second foot of Justin Blackman's was on the white line.
Green Bay is challenging the ruling on the field of a completed pass. We'll review the play.
There's one. Sure looks like he stepped out of bounds. That doesn't look like a completed pass. This is what referee Carl Cheffers has been looking at. I don't think there's any question that Justin Blackman got 1 foot in bounds, but not the second, as we zero in on it there. But keep in mind, this was on a 3rd and 1, and Green Bay was offside. So even if this is overturned, I think it's still going to be a first down for Jacksonville after they enforce the 5-yard penalty against the Packers.
After review, the receiver's second foot did hit out of bounds. It is an incomplete pass. We will enforce the offside on the defense. That 5-yard penalty will result in a first down. Please put 9:23 on the game clock. Green Bay will not be charged with a timeout, and they are now eligible for a 3rd challenge.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy has been 2 for 2 today, and because of that, if he still has a timeout at his disposal, he will be granted a 3rd opportunity to challenge.
So Jacksonville keeps the football, just don't have it as far downfield as they would have otherwise, and so it's a first down at the Green Bay 45. This is Rashad Jennings slicing through to about the 41, maybe the 40-yard line.
Boy, how did he come out of that pile? Looked like he was wrapped up by multiple Green Bay Packers, and somehow Jennings kept his feet moving and squirted forward for a good 5 yards. Well done.
Rashad Jennings is 6'1", 228.
He just towers over Maurice Jones-Drew.
Yes. Second and 5.
There they come right up the middle.
Good protection. Throwing wide open. The catch is made by Cecil Shorts.
And Cecil Shorts was working hard to see how many times he could pepper the grass with his feet, trying to make sure that he had 2 feet in bounds. You know how hard that is to do when you're falling backwards?
He got him.
And he sure did. Now, he's got to firmly maintain control of the football when he falls to the ground.
At the 15-yard line. Jennings continues to pull his way to the 11-yard line.
Now, this is interesting, Greg, with Jacksonville being behind by 9 points. This is, there are people that don't believe in going for a 2-point conversion in the first half, which is what they did. If they'd have kicked the extra point, they'd be behind by 8. Personally, I had no problem with it. You're 1-5. You're on the road. You're trying to send your team into halftime feeling good about it. But, the proponents who say you don't do that till the second half, right now we're going, well, it would be 21-13, which it would be.
That pass incomplete.
That's one of those.
That looked like a total mix-up.
Going for 2 in the first half is one of those things you can line up people to argue both sides of that thing till they're blue in the face.
That sounds like the politician's reasoning. I feel strongly both ways.
No, I think you're pretty much divided into 2 camps. Those that believe you should go for it and those that don't.
So now another big third down for the Jacksonville offense. Outside. Gonna go nowhere. Caught by Jennings.
Boy, nice tackle by Jerron McMillan. That's a good open field wrap-up. Too many times we see guys come in for a tackle and it looks more like a block. They're just trying to knock the guy's legs out from under him. Good job of wrapping up that time by McMillan, the 4th-round draft pick from Maine.
So here is Scobie. Looking to tie the Jacksonville franchise record for consecutive field goals in a row. This would be number 20 if he gets it, and he does. Mike Hollis, the former record holder, Josh Scobie pulls even with him. It's 21-15 Packers. Welcome back to Lambeau. 21-15. Green Bay in the lead. 6:50 to play here in the 4th quarter. Randall Cobb is deep. This line drive kick, and
it went out of bounds.
Before it crossed the goal line.
No, that's the kind of mistakes you just can't afford to make.
Line, first down, Green Bay.
So this ball will come out to the 40-yard line.
Oh, it's one of the most punitive penalties in football.
Coming up on the Subway postgame show, JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher. We'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Subway postgame show.
I'm sure that Mike Mularkey's headset just popped off his head when that went out of bounds.
Green 18! Green 18!
Ground game hasn't been much to speak of on either side today.
Well, you talk to coaches and they say we're going to run the football even if we don't have a lot of success running the football. And I give Green Bay credit. They are trying to develop some type of a running game. They're doing it today at less than 3 yards a carry, which isn't going to win many football games, but it sets up other things.
By the way, we got word from downstairs, Jarrell Worthy, the rookie defensive end who suffered a concussion, will not return to this game today. 2nd and 7. Rogers rolling and throwing, and incomplete, threw it out of bounds.
And again, what has been the case a lot today, that Aaron Rodgers is finding that his receivers just aren't able to find separation in that secondary of Jacksonville. It's not like Aaron's been looking at a bunch of wide open guys and he's been missing them. They've been, by and large, blanketed a lot of the time by this defense of Jacksonville. It's playing not too bad.
319.
On 3rd and 7. Near side of the field, incomplete. Jermichael Finley, the closest. And, you know, we've talked about the injuries to this Green Bay team. Jacksonville didn't arrive in the healthiest shape today.
No, they did not. They're banged up. You know, anytime you don't have a game where Maurice Jones-Drew is out of it, but both their starting corners, Derek Cox wasn't even able to suit up today, and Rashean Mathis hasn't played. And that was not the time to do a 3 and out if you're a Green Bay fan.
So Michael Spurlock is deep for the kick. And fair catch called for and made at the 6-yard line. They'll question that one. Wednesday, in primetime, JB, Chris Collinsworth, Phil Simms showcase America's favorite game with their own unique style inside the NFL Wednesday on Showtime.
Well, if Jacksonville is able to drive down the field and score, boy, the Packers are going to look at that last possession where they get a kickoff going out of bounds. They get the ball at their own 40, and in 3 plays, they're able to generate 2 or 3 yards. That's unacceptable.
So here's young Mr. Gabbard at the helm of the Jaguars offense. Blitz, he got it away. Jennings out of the backfield, up the sideline, and across the 20-yard line for a first down.
A good job of recognition by Blaine Gabbert. He's got the hot blitzer, which he's coming right at him, right in his face. And what he's going to do is he's going to throw right at it. It looks like he almost throws right between the arms of Morgan Burnett.
Morgan Burnett got him earlier.
A little sense of uneasiness sweeping through Lambeau Field right now.
On the slant, that's complete across the 30-yard line. Good hands by Cecil Shorts.
Hey, you got to give Dom Capers credit. He came with the blitz again. And again, Gabbard is able to make a completion. You know, you got man coverage because of the blitz. You see Clay Matthews float off. You see there he comes again. That time, instead of Morgan Burnett, it was M.D. Jennings, the other safety. And I'm sorry, Greg, but dropping Matthews into coverage, I'm sure that's all Jacksonville appreciates that.
2nd and 1. Outside. Shaking a tackler is Jennings. Up the sideline, out to midfield, and a first down.
And right about now, I think you can tell by watching Jacksonville, they're starting to believe. And right there, initially, it looks like there's going to be a wrap-up, but A.J. Hawk isn't able to get the legs of Rashad Jennings. And there is a little confidence sweeping through this Jacksonville football team right now.
From midfield, first down. Gabbert stepping up. And Justin Blackman looked as though he didn't expect the ball to be coming his way.
Was that my imagination, or did Blackman look like he was jogging across the secondary of the Packers?
That's kind of what I meant.
You've got to run your patterns to conclusion and never assume that your quarterback isn't going to find you.
And the thing is, he was open, man.
Yeah, yes, he was.
2nd and 10. That's incomplete.
And Blackman again didn't look like he was expecting the football. It looked like it surprised him.
You know, this is a young man from whom much is expected. The 5th pick overall in the draft.
He breaks to the inside, and I mean, that's not exactly fighting your way to get to the inside, and having a great deal of awareness as to where the football is.
So now Blaine Gabbert looks at another big conversion. 3rd and 10. Gabbert throws, and that is complete to Blackman. Can't break away at the 45-yard line. Casey Hayward making the tackle.
And that was a heck of a tackle by Casey Hayward. Their 2nd-round pick this year from Vanderbilt, leads the team with interceptions. And you know what? This is a big-time tackle because he almost overflows and goes by Blackman.
And so on 4th and 4, Gabbert and the offense. Jacksonville pushing for the win right here. Incomplete. Looks like he expected Blackman to go to the outside. Blackman was inside.
Well, the drive that looked so promising on three different attempts going towards Justin Blackman sputters to a complete halt. And intercepted or not doesn't make any difference because it was 4th down. There's Justin Blackman coming across. He runs into Morgan Burnett, but intentionally it looked like he ran. I don't know if he was trying to pick him off.
18!
Here's Alex Green, right side, brought down at about the 47. Didn't look like he was running with much purpose, Dan.
It's hard to be critical on that last play because I'm not sure what his job was. I'm not sure if maybe he was trying to get a pick or whatever. But
the ball was coming his way.
At the very least, we have to say that whatever Blaine Gabbert was expecting of Justin Blackman, I'm not sure he got it on the last 3 or 4 plays of that series. Take a look at the left over here. Here's Justin Blackman right here on the number 14. He's coming across. He runs behind the umpire, and then he just runs right into Morgan Burnett. But it almost looked like he ran into him on purpose. He certainly made no effort, didn't look like made much of an effort to avoid him.
Come back. 18!
Alex Green on 2nd and 7. George Selvey with the tackle. And we again get a stoppage of play. The Jaguars are now out of timeouts. So while we have a moment, let's remind you again, coming up, the Subway postgame show. James Brown, Dan Marino, Shannon Sharp, Boomer Esiason, and Coach Bill Cowher will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights. A busy day around the NFL coming up on the Subway postgame show.
Again, that was Rasheed Mathis standing there. Well, 3rd and 7. What does Mike McCarthy have that he would love to pick up a first down here?
He's got Aaron Rodgers. That's what he has.
Yes, he does. But man, 231 total yards. They've not exactly been clicking to him.
Rodgers going deep down the near sideline. Incomplete. And a late flag. Another flag. James Jones, the intended receiver, covered by William Middleton.
That's the first time today that the Packers have really aired one out. They've had a couple completions across the middle, but that's the first time they have really, truly gone vertical.
Pass interference, number 29, defense. Automatic. First down.
And Middleton, as you can see, plays the receiver Jones and not the football. He turned around at the last minute, but he really, both arms, he envelops James Jones and bringing multiple flags. And again now, Jacksonville has no timeouts.
2:38 on the clock. Jacksonville has been hit with 77 penalty yards today. This is Green. Green spins to the 10. Jeremy Mincy with the tackle.
And they don't have to run another play before the 2-minute warning.
And although this game isn't over yet, those are the kinds of things that happen to teams that haven't been in a winning way, like Jacksonville.
Well, at the very least, they're going to have to do something if they don't get a first down, but a Crosby field goal gives them a 2-score lead.
2 minutes to play here in Lambeau Field. We'll be back after this. Green Bay victory here today becomes a must with Chicago winning and Detroit coming back to win.
Green 18!
2 minutes to play. This is Green. At the line of scrimmage for no gain. Paul Posluszny leading the charge.
Well, you see Green with both hands on the football. Ball security is everything now. And Jacksonville can just watch the clock run. Green Bay can either try to run again for a first down, or they can take a knee and just count on a chip shot field goal from Mason Crosby to put this away. Although he missed a short field goal already in this game.
This is 3rd and 4.
Green 18! Green 18!
Rodgers. To Green. Green to about the 8 or the 7-yard line.
Well, that's having a lot of confidence in your quarterback when you're risking stopping the clock with an incomplete pass. You can see they can run this thing down to about the 30-second mark before they have to.
Dan, there are no moral victories in the NFL, but the Jacksonville Jaguars put up a pretty good fight here today.
Well, yes, they did. They played hard from beginning to end. You know, it's small consolation, but let's be realistic. They were huge underdogs. A 1-5 football team coming in.
Green Bay calls timeout, 31 seconds to play, and
you know, Greg, you look at this score right now, Green Bay 21, Jacksonville 15. Keep in mind that it's the Green Bay offense 14 and Jacksonville 15, because 7 of those points for the Packers came on a blocked punt. Their special teams contributed mightily to this apparent win here today.
Now Mason Crosby missed a field goal earlier from 32 yards out. He hit the upright. That was going in the other direction.
And right now Jacksonville is thinking, well, all we have to do really is block this field goal and run it back for a touchdown.
That's all. This one from 25 yards. And it's good.
So that, as they say, is that, with the exception that we've got to dispose of the remaining 28 seconds, but that makes it a 2-score ball game.
And hey, there's your twin brother Sam Deerdorf.
I don't know who that guy is, but that is a good-looking son of a gun.
You just like the stash.
You know, seriously, if they were to make a movie of that man's life, Brad Pitt would have to play the lead, don't you think? My partner's speechless.
Really speechless.
All right, they get to stay home next week, entertain the Arizona Cardinals, talking about the Pack, and then they get to their bye. And given their injuries, wow, does this team look forward to a week off, a chance to get a little healthier, and then a couple of tough road games, going to Detroit and then going to the New Meadowlands to play the Giants. And then, like most teams in this league, as we move into December, a lot of divisional games as we go down the stretch and head toward the holiday.
With the game against Arizona, they will wrap up their season's obligations against the NFC West,
which already includes a pair of losses to San Francisco and Seattle.
Keith Toston will not run this one out, and so it'll be Gabbert and the offense from the 20-yard line. Those of you just joining us, Blaine Gabbert off to a good start, tailed off in the second half. You see his numbers, 303 yards on the day and a touchdown pass. Rashad Jennings filling in for Maurice Jones-Drew, 59 yards rushing. Not much of a ground game on either side of the field today.
I don't think you'd have got a lot of takers if you'd have said one of the quarterbacks today is going to have 303 yards and one of them is going to have 186. And the guy with the 186 is Aaron Rodgers.
No timeouts left to the Jaguars. Pass to the near side of the field, overthrown, intended for Mike Thomas. 22 seconds on the clock.
You look at what Jacksonville accomplished defensively here today, holding this offense, and I know we documented it all, no Jennings, no Nelson, but still to 239 total yards of offense for the Green Bay Packers. Mike Mularkey has to be proud of his defense and the way they played.
They give up more than 411 yards a game on the average coming in. Gabbert over the middle, incomplete. Kevin Elliott, the intended receiver, hit him in the hands. It'll be 3rd and 10. You know, the one thing you have to say, Dan, you don't know how serious the injury is to Maurice Jones-Drew, but seeing him on crutches on the sideline is not a good thing.
No.
Gabbert, incomplete for Jennings.
Well, Gabbert just can't buy a completed pass here.
There's MJD.
You know, he was involved in a bitter contract dispute this training camp, and he was very adamant in pointing out that the type of injury that he sustained wasn't a soft tissue injury. It wasn't, in his mind, related to the fact that he didn't have training camp. Just an awkward landing with a Raider tackler falling on his foot.
3-man rush, and that falls incomplete to Jennings, and that will do it for the Jacksonville offense here today.
Well, all the Packers have to do is kneel on it, and this one goes in the books. Aaron Rodgers. It looked like he was going to sit this one out, but reluctantly, I think, heads back out on the field.
One more snap, and the Green Bay Packers will improve to 5-3 on the season. Jacksonville will fall to 1-6. And with the snap, the Packers have now won 16 of their last 17 regular season games here at Lambeau Field. Jacksonville, tough on the road. Lost 12 of their last 14. Our final, 24-15 Green Bay. Coming up next, the Subway postgame show. For Dan Deerdorf, for all of us here at CBS Sports. Greg Gumbel saying so long from Green Bay. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. We'll join James Brown in New York